You ever wonder why some women walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a single word? Why their presence alone commands attention, not because of how they look, but because of who they are. There's something different about them. You can feel it. It's not loud. It's not forced. It's not for show. It's earned. And here's what nobody tells you. Every woman has that power, but most of them have buried it under years of being told to sit down, be polite, not too much, not too loud, not too opinionated, not too ambitious. So they've learned to play small smile through disrespect and call it strength. They've learned to be quiet just to keep the peace. They've been told that being chosen is the goal, even if it means choosing to abandon themselves in the process. But the truth, that fire you keep trying to silence, it's not meant to be extinguished. It's meant to be focused. The voice you keep pushing down, the one that speaks up every time something doesn't feel right, that voice isn't your weakness. It's your compass. The problem isn't that women aren't strong. The problem is that too many women have been conditioned to believe that their strength only matters if it's soft, quiet, and self-sacrificing. No more. This is not another fluffy message about self-love and bubble baths. This is about the grit it takes to reclaim your life. The hard truth that nobody is coming to save you. That your healing, your growth, your standards, your boundaries, that's your responsibility. And until you make the decision to stop waiting for permission to live fully, the world will continue treating you like you're optional. But the moment you stop apologizing for who you are, the moment you decide you're enough without needing to prove it, the moment you step into your life as the main character, not the side note, that's when everything begins to change. So if you're tired of being overlooked, if you've been questioning your worth, if you're done settling for the bare minimum in love, in life, and yourself, stay exactly where you are. Because what you're about to hear is not just a message. It's a reckoning. It's a mirror. And it might just be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Let's begin. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she looks in the mirror and doesn't recognize the reflection staring back at her. Not because her face has changed, not because time has passed, but because something inside her feels off. Like somewhere along the way, she lost pieces of herself. She questions her strength, her decisions, her identity. She begins to wonder, what happened to me? And the answer she often lands on is, maybe I'm just broken. That belief, I'm broken, is one of the most dangerous lies a woman can carry. Because when you think you're broken, you operate from lack. You settle for less, you tolerate mistreatment, you accept chaos, you shrink your desires, you bury your needs. You think you're the problem, so you keep trying to fix yourself to fit into places you were never meant to belong in the first place. But let me tell you something no one else is saying loud enough. You are not broken. What you're feeling, that discomfort, that confusion, that deep aching desire for something more, that is not brokenness. That is awakening. That is life trying to call you higher, and you've been misreading it as a flaw. It's easy to assume that pain means something is wrong with you. But pain is often a signal, a sign that you've outgrown your current reality, that the version of you that once served you is no longer enough to hold the woman you are becoming. Growth always feels like loss first. You're not just letting go of what hurt you, you're releasing the parts of you that tolerated it. You're shedding the stories you were told about who you had to be, shedding the fear that kept you playing small, shedding the guilt that made you overgive and under-receive, shedding the belief that love should hurt, shedding the mask you wore just to be liked. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Growth always is. There will be days you feel like everything is falling apart, days you question if it's worth it, days when you look around and feel like no one understands the storm you're in. But listen closely. You are not falling apart. You are falling into alignment. The reason you feel so much right now is because you're waking up. You're waking up to the fact that you want more than survival. You're done with pretending. You're tired of playing roles. You're exhausted from carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. And the best part, you're beginning to realize that you have a choice. You can rebuild. You can rewire. You can redefine what this next chapter of your life looks like. And it doesn't have to look like the last one. But it starts with this truth. You were never broken. You were buried under expectations, under trauma, under pressure, under shame, under lies And now you're rising. See, strength doesn't always look like bold moves and confident declarations. Sometimes it looks like sitting alone in your room, crying in silence, and still getting up the next day to try again. Sometimes it looks like walking away from everything familiar because you finally decided your peace mattered more. Sometimes it looks like finally choosing you, even when it means disappointing others. And that choice, that moment when you finally decide you're no longer going to live beneath your potential, that's the beginning of power. That's when your real life begins. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop abandoning yourself every time life gets hard. Because guess what? The version of you that will walk confidently into her purpose, that will command respect without saying a word, that will love deeply without losing herself, that woman is not found by fixing what's broken. She's revealed by rising through what once tried to destroy her. The breakdown is not the end. It's the beginning. And every powerful woman you admire, every woman who walks with strength, certainty, and grace, has had her moment of reckoning. The moment she decided to stop surviving and start becoming. This is your moment. You are not here to be small, silent, or second. You are here to become the most elevated, unapologetic, fully alive version of yourself. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your value. Stop trying to repair something that was never broken, just buried. Rise, because the woman you're becoming is already inside of you, and she's been waiting for you to remember who the hell you are. Somewhere along the line, women were taught to apologize for their very existence, to say sorry when they speak up, to whisper when they should roar, to make themselves small physically, emotionally, mentally, so the world around them feels comfortable. We apologize when we ask a question. We apologize when we say no. We apologize when we succeed. We apologize when we cry. We apologize for taking up space as if we were never meant to be here in the first place. But here's the truth. No one told you clearly enough. You were not put on this earth to be quiet, convenient, or invisible. You are not too much. You are not too loud, too bold, or too emotional. You are exactly enough, exactly as you are. But the world has benefited from you doubting that. The more uncertain you are, the more you question your worth, the easier you are to control, to ignore, to dismiss. And that's why so many women have learned to shrink. Not just physically, crossed arms, legs tucked, voices hushed, but mentally, they doubt their decisions, silence their opinions, soften their tone to avoid being labeled difficult or intense. They say sorry before they even speak, just in case their existence is inconvenient. That has to stop. You were not born to hide. You were not born to tiptoe through life, constantly second-guessing your right to be in the room. And you do not need permission to be exactly who you are. It's not arrogance to take up space. It's not selfish to speak with clarity. It's not rude to say what you want. That is called ownership. That is called self-respect. That is called truth. And if your truth makes people uncomfortable, that's their discomfort to manage, not your problem to solve. Think about how much energy women waste trying to be more palatable. We mute ourselves in meetings so we won't sound bossy. We water down our ambitions so we're not intimidating. We say yes when we want to scream no because we're afraid of being seen as difficult. But the cost of constantly minimizing yourself is your own potential. You cannot grow while shrinking. You cannot be fully alive while constantly editing yourself. There is nothing virtuous about silence. If that silence is a result of fear, there is nothing admirable about being easygoing. If it means tolerating disrespect, there is nothing graceful about enduring situations that crush your soul just so others can feel secure. Taking up space is not just about speaking louder. It's about standing taller in who you are. It's about no longer explaining or justifying your needs. It's about no longer asking people to accept you before you accept yourself. It's about walking into a room and knowing you belong without question. There's a reason so many women are exhausted. It's not because they're doing too much. It's because they're doing too much of the wrong things. Too much pleasing, too much apologizing, too much bending, shrinking, softening themselves just to maintain a false peace. And all that energy, it could be used for building, creating, leading, loving, becoming, Imagine how powerful you could be if you stopped apologizing for your brilliance, if you stopped dumbing yourself down to be liked, if you stopped waiting for someone to tell you that it's finally your turn. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need to be chosen. You need to choose yourself. Taking up space means trusting that your voice matters. It means refusing to tolerate the bare minimum. It means no longer adjusting your worth based on how other people treat you. And yes, not everyone will like it when you stop apologizing. Some will call you arrogant. Some will label you difficult. But the ones who try to diminish you are the ones who were most comfortable when you didn't know your power. Let them be uncomfortable. Because your presence, your intelligence, your truth, it's not a disruption, it's a recalibration. When you step fully into your space, you give other women permission to do the same. You become a mirror of possibility, a reminder that it's not just okay to take up space, it's necessary. So stop saying sorry when you have nothing to apologize for. Stop cushioning your brilliance so others don't feel small. Stop folding yourself to fit into spaces you've outgrown. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to be quiet. You are not here to make everyone else comfortable at the cost of your own soul. You are here to rise, to own, to stand fully in your truth. From now on, you take up space on purpose. In every room, in every relationship, in every dream. No more apologies, just power. Respect is one of those words. Everyone throws around, but few truly understand. We're told to earn it, to give it, to get it, to demand it. But here's the hard truth most people won't say out loud. Respect isn't given freely just because you exist. It's trained by how you carry yourself, by what you allow, by what you reinforce, and most importantly, by what you tolerate. Let's be real, in a world that constantly tests women, that pokes at their confidence, that questions their intelligence, that reduces their value to how pleasing or accommodating they are. It's not enough to simply expect respect. You have to train people how to treat you, starting with how you treat yourself. If you constantly apologize for your needs, people will learn they can ignore them. If you allow people to speak over you, they will assume your voice doesn't matter. If you forgive repeated disrespect without consequence, you teach others that their behavior is acceptable. Whether you realize it or not, every interaction is a lesson in how you expect to be treated. And if you're not actively setting that standard, someone else will do it for you, and it won't be in your favor. Respect starts with boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls, they're instructions. They teach people where your dignity begins. But here's the catch. Boundaries are meaningless unless you enforce them. It's not enough to say, I won't tolerate disrespect. If you continue to allow it, every time you let something slide, every time you silence yourself to keep the peace, you send a message that your peace is negotiable. And guess what? People will take the deal. You cannot command respect from others if you are constantly disrespecting yourself by overextending, overpleasing, over-apologizing, and underestimating your worth. It starts with self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation upon which all other respect is built. It's in the way you speak to yourself, the standards you uphold, the goals you chase, and the behaviors you no longer accept, no matter how lonely it gets. It's in walking away from places where you're not honored, even when it's hard. It's in saying no without explaining yourself. It's in being the kind of woman who doesn't need validation to know she is enough. Some people won't like this version of you. The one who sets limits, the one who says no, the one who holds herself with quiet authority. And that's okay. Let them feel uncomfortable. Let them misunderstand you. Let them fall away. Because the truth is, people who are used to benefiting from your lack of boundaries will always see your growth as an attack. But your job is not to be understood. Your job is to stand firm in who you are and train the world how to treat you accordingly. Respect is reinforced through consistency. You can't waver. You can't be clear one day and apologetic the next. If you say you won't tolerate something, mean it. Don't backtrack just because someone throws a guilt trip or a compliment your way. You teach people to respect you by showing them that your standards are non-negotiable even when it's inconvenient. And don't just wait for others to give you what you deserve. Reflect it back. Respect isn't a one-way mirror. You must also be someone who listens, who sees people fully, who doesn't need to step on others to rise. Power doesn't have to be aggressive to be effective. It has to be grounded, clear, and unwavering. That's real respect. You'll notice something powerful happens when you stop begging for respect and start training it. People begin to rise to your standard, or they remove themselves. Either way, you win. Either way, the energy around you becomes cleaner, stronger, more aligned with who you really are. And this shift doesn't just affect your personal relationships. It changes everything: your career, your friendships, your sense of self. You stop chasing approval and start choosing alignment. You stop entertaining half effort and start demanding full presence. You stop fearing solitude because you realize that peace is better than proximity to people who don't see you. So many women are stuck in cycles of disrespect because they've been conditioned to believe that being liked is more important than being respected. But being liked is fickle, it's conditional, it changes with moods, opinions, and trends. Respect is rooted, it endures, and it's infinitely more powerful. Stop asking people to respect you. Show them how. Show them with your choices. Show them with your discipline. Show them with your silence when it's needed and your voice when it matters. Show them with your walk, your presence, your refusal to accept crumbs in places where you bring the whole feast. Respect is not a gift handed to you. It's a standard you uphold, day after day, choice after choice. And once you learn how to train the world to respect you, something incredible happens. You no longer fear losing people. You start fearing losing yourself. And that's when everything changes. Respect is trained, not requested, not begged for, not passively expected. Trained, train it, hold it, walk in it, and never settle for less again. From the time we're little girls, we're taught to seek approval, be nice, be sweet, be chosen, whether it's in school, in relationships, in family dynamics. We're subtly and sometimes blatantly taught that our value is validated by someone else's willingness to pick us for love, pick us for a job, pick us for worth. The result: far too many women shrink themselves, twist themselves, and mold themselves into what they think others want just for the chance to be selected. But here's the truth that changes everything. You were not put on this earth to be chosen. You were born to choose. You were not created to sit around waiting for someone else to decide that you're good enough. You're not a prize on a shelf. You're not an application hoping to be accepted. You are the decision maker of your life. You are the gatekeeper. You are the selector. When a woman forgets that truth, when she starts thinking her value lies in being picked, she loses her power. She starts playing roles that don't fit her. She tolerates behavior that dishonors her. She clings to situations that drain her just so she won't be alone. She accepts the bare minimum because at least it's something, but you weren't made for crumbs. You were made for the whole table, and you get to decide who sits with you. So let's flip the script. You're not here to wait for someone to notice you. You're here to notice what aligns with the life you deserve. You're not here to audition for someone's attention. You're here to discern who earns yours. And you're definitely not here to chase love, validation, or acceptance. You're here to walk in a way that those things chase you. This shift starts with how you see yourself. If you're constantly seeking to be chosen, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's standards. But when you begin to choose, you set the standard. You begin asking the real questions. Does this person or situation honor my values? Does this relationship reflect the love and respect I give? Does this environment support my growth or stunt it? It's not about arrogance. It's about awareness. Because when you realize your worth, your energy changes. You no longer walk into rooms trying to prove you belong. You belong because you've decided that your presence is already valuable. You no longer accept conditional love or conditional respect. You no longer pour endlessly into people who only drain. Instead, you become intentional, selective, purposeful. People will notice this change. Some won't like it. The ones who were benefiting from your self-abandonment will resist. They'll call you difficult, cold, too much. Let them. That resistance is proof that you're no longer easy to manipulate. It means you've stopped handing over the pen and started writing your own script. And choosing doesn't mean you never get hurt. It means that when you do, you don't stay where you're not valued. It means you get back up, not with bitterness, but with clarity. You learn the lesson, you upgrade the standard, you keep moving. A woman who knows she has the power to choose is dangerous in the best way. She's not led by desperation. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's complete already. She's not looking for a savior. She's her own. You don't need to be picked to be powerful. You don't need permission to be whole. And you don't need to settle just to say you have something. You are not a backup plan. You are not a placeholder. You are not an option. You are the chooser. So the next time someone asks if you've been chosen, smile and say, no, I've been choosing. Choosing peace over chaos. Choosing truth over comfort. Choosing standards over desperation. Choosing me and everything that aligns with that version of me. The minute you stop waiting to be picked and start owning your ability to choose, your world changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you love differently, because you know you're not hoping for a seat. You are the table. Don't just wait for life to happen to you. Don't keep auditioning for roles you were never meant to play. And don't give your power to people who don't even know what to do with it. Remember this always. You were not born to be chosen. You were born to choose. So choose wisely, choose boldly, and never ever forget you hold the pen, write the life that chooses you back. The world will tell you to wait. Wait for the perfect timing. Wait for the right opportunity. Wait until you feel more confident, more ready, more qualified. It'll convince you that change happens out there when your circumstances shift, when people treat you better, when life gets easier. But the truth is the world doesn't change first. You do. Real transformation starts internally, not in some distant, idealized version of your life. Not when you finally get the relationship or the promotion or the recognition. It starts the moment you decide enough is enough. The moment you stop blaming the world and start asking, what can I do differently? That's when things move. That's when the momentum begins. You don't need to wait for life to hand you a fresh start. You are the fresh start. The shift begins with your mindset, with the thoughts you choose to feed and the ones you finally starve, with how you speak to yourself in silence, how you show up for yourself. When no one is watching, that inner shift, that's the earthquake that shakes everything else. People often think it's external wins that build confidence. Money, status, admiration. But those things are just noise. True confidence comes from honoring your word to yourself, from following through, from holding yourself accountable, from deciding that your life is worth showing up for, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. You're not going to magically feel different one morning and suddenly become your highest self. You're going to choose her every day, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, especially when no one is clapping. Because transformation is not about motivation, it's about discipline. And discipline is built by doing the things your old self would avoid. It's saying no to things that numb you and yes to things that stretch you. It's understanding that temporary discomfort is the toll for long-term freedom. When you change, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, the people and situations around you can't stay the same. Some will elevate with you, others will resist. Some relationships will fall away, not because you're broken, but because your evolution no longer fits their comfort. That's not loss, that's alignment. The people you attract, the opportunities that come your way, the doors that open, they're all reflections of who you believe yourself to be. Not who you pretend to be, not who you hope to be one day, but who you embody right now. So ask yourself, what version of you is leading your life today? Is it the version that doubts her worth, that plays small, that settles because she's afraid to be alone? Or is it the version who knows her value, who sets the tone, who refuses to betray herself just to be accepted? Every time you choose the higher version of yourself, you train the world how to treat you. You stop negotiating with disrespect. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop apologizing for having standards. And suddenly, people either rise to meet you or they remove themselves. That's not arrogance. That's clarity. That's power. Growth isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's lonely, sometimes it's painful, but it is always worth it because the cost of staying stuck, of repeating cycles, of silencing your voice, of pretending to be okay with less than you deserve is far greater than the cost of transformation. There is a version of you on the other side of fear that you haven't even met yet. She's not overwhelmed by the opinions of others. She's not settling. She's not waiting for someone else to believe in her first. She knows who she is and she moves like it. She doesn't ask for permission. She builds the life that reflects her purpose. And that version of you, she's already inside of you. She's not someday. She's not if. She's now. All she's waiting for is your decision. So stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop thinking you need to be more of this or less of that before you start. You don't need more time. You need more truth. The world doesn't magically become better. Your life doesn't shift by accident. People don't just change around you because you hope they will. The world responds to who you are. So become the woman who doesn't chase, she attracts. Become the woman who doesn't beg, she chooses. Become the woman who doesn't settle, she elevates. And watch how the world changes. Not because it decided to treat you better, but because you decided to rise. Everything starts and ends with you. Change your mind, change your habits, change your circle. And soon enough, you'll realize the moment you change, the world has no choice but to follow. Let me leave you with this because you need to hear it clearly, powerfully, and without apology. You were never meant to shrink to fit into places that couldn't handle your fullness. You were never meant to silence yourself so others could feel more comfortable. You were never meant to beg for the bare minimum when you were born to set the standard. The truth is, you are not waiting for a savior, for approval, or for perfect timing. You are waiting for yourself to wake up, to rise up, to stop playing small, and finally claim the life that's been calling your name all along. The version of you that doesn't tolerate disrespect, doesn't fold under pressure, doesn't question her worth every time someone fails to see it. She is already inside you. No one gets to decide your value. No one gets to define your power. And no one gets to write your story but you. So write it boldly. Write it fiercely. Write it like a woman who is done waiting for permission. The world doesn't need another woman who hides. It needs you, fully awake, wildly authentic, and unapologetically powerful. Don't just listen to this message. Live it. Be it. Own it. Because once you do, there's no going back. And that's exactly the point.